Have you ever stumbled across an Instagram reel and it had 50, maybe even 100,000 views, and you're like, man, if I could get that, I bet it would kill it for my business. And so you wonder, I wonder what it did for that person. And most of the time, it did absolutely nothing. I had a client that I worked with that was having the same exact issue. They would get tons of views on their reels. However, people couldn't remember their name the next day. So if you stick around, I am going to walk you through what we did, and we implemented what is called the triangle method. So essentially what this triangle method is it has 3 points of the triangle, and you try to hit all 3 points of the triangle to build a cult-like following of people that are like begging, saying, I want to buy from you. I want to give you my money because I like you and I trust you and I want to do all the things that you offer. So point number 1 of the triangle method is short form content. Short form content is the easiest type of content to make, and we used Instagram for this client. We started creating Instagram posts with an actual strategy. We weren't just trying to get views over time because, it looks good, makes you feel good, but if nobody remembers your name, it's kind of pointless. So what we started doing was having a specific plan for the Instagram Reels. We also started implementing more than just Reels. Reels are great for growth. It can do some stuff with the conversion stage of marketing, but ultimately other things help better. But ultimately other types of content can work better in different stages of the content lifecycle. So the first thing we started doing was using our social media strategy. We used the growth, convert, nurture strategy. So we wanted to create posts that not only grew their platform, not only grew their audience, got more awareness, we also wanted to convert those people to get them pay money. And we also wanted to nurture those people to get them to, like us a little bit more and trust us a little bit more. We wanted to build up the engagement. And so by creating this strategy, we weren't just getting reels that would blow up and then do nothing. We were developing a life cycle of a buyer. We did create the awareness posts. Generally, these were reels. Generally, these were the trending stuff, the things that made people want to kind of follow you and see that you're doing something. And then from there, we started adding in a second layer. And the second layer was the nurture phase. And so during the nurture phase, that's where we would talk about more in depth of what our product and our service actually was, rather than only doing things that would get you on a trend. And then from there, once we did the nurture phase, we also moved them into the convert phase, which was asking for a sale. So generally this was storytelling, sharing what it was like working with us and saying, if you have that same exact situation, you want that to be you, do the next thing, which is buy from us. So a couple key points we tried to make sure we hit when we were doing the short form content phase. Number one topic for one specific person for one platform. It's really easy to start trying to have your content have a bunch of information because you don't want to miss anything, but I'd rather make 3 separate posts rather than try and fit it all into one. So the shorter, more concise, the more punchy, the easier to consume, that was really good for this growth phase. And so once we started having that one individual message, the one individual idea and emotion within that content, their performance started to go up. And then once we started getting more eyeballs on the content, we started nurturing them, because if people came to my Instagram account and didn't know what I actually did, then why would they ever want to keep following? Why would they ever want to buy from us? So we started talking about what the process was like working with us. What makes us uniquely qualified to work with rather than someone else? And what is it that we actually do? Like, here is a problem that our clients have. This is how we help them solve it. And then finally, within the convert phase, this is where we were trying to get them to take some sort of action or some sort of next step. This could be just as simple as sending us a DM to start a conversation. This could be clicking a link to go and buy something. This could be downloading a lead magnet, all of the things. But essentially, our goal was to convert them from just a lurker on the internet to someone that is doing business with us. The beauty of short form content is, 1, you could make a lot of it. 2, you can do different types of content. So you have Instagram Reels for this client. We had just photos or graphics. And then we also had carousels. So we had a lot of different types of content that we could make so we could start testing. And that was the next point. We've got to do a lot of testing to see what works. And what works for a convert post doesn't always work for a growth post. And so by using this strategy, we started figuring out what type of content we needed to make and what we wanted to make sure that it actually hit the goals that we were trying to achieve. And the other nice thing about this short form content is that you can batch create a lot of them at one time and bank them up and then just kind of post them. So we would typically shoot for 2, maybe even 3 hours, and that would get us an entire month's worth of content. And they were really high quality pieces of content, not just like, oh, we're shooting something real fast and it doesn't really matter. So we were putting in a lot of effort to showcase what this client's brand looked like and what they wanted to achieve. We were trying to grow the Instagram following, and what we were trying to convey as far as, now that we've got your attention, this is how you can actually move forward and do business with us. So from a content standpoint, this short form content is the easiest way that you can build kind of this cult-like audience. But that is just one piece of the triangle. We had to add a second prong. The problem with short form content is that you have to consume so much content before you actually want to do business with somebody. However, long form content, you don't have to consume quite as much. Let's say you have to consume 2 hours of content to move forward and want to be a buyer with this potential client. For short form content for Instagram, let's say every time you post a piece of content, they spend 20 seconds on it. And that's honestly a very long time. So 20 seconds and you need to achieve 2 hours. I don't know what the math is. Hold please. All right, we're going to do some internet math here. I'm not going to use any stuff. We'll try and do this together. Every 3 videos gets us 1 minute. So that gives us 3 videos per minute. We need to get 120 minutes. So we just need to multiply that by 120. So that's 360 total pieces of content they would need to consume to get you your 2 hours of consumption that we know would move them to be a buyer. That's a lot, which is why we went to long form video. The other one you could do is podcasting. And I'm a big believer in podcasting because when I go for a walk, when I drive in my car, I only listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music anymore. I'm always listening to a podcast. And so I consume a lot of that content while I'm doing other things. And so you can consume a high amount of hours, a high amount of usability of that content while you're doing other things if it's a long form piece of content. So remember, we needed 360 pieces of short form content before someone became a buyer. With the long form content, let's say the average video or average podcast is 20 minutes. So now every 3 videos equals 1 hour. So that's essentially only 6 videos or podcasts that you need to move them as a buyer. So we went from 360 pieces of content to now we only need 6 pieces of content before they move further in the buyer's life cycle. I don't know about you, but I'd rather create 6 long form videos than 360 pieces of content. And that's saying that they watched every single piece of content on short form. Probably pretty unlikely. So this is why we moved to the long form piece of content in addition to the short form. So now with this long form piece of content, we wanted to build authority by solving just one simple problem. And we wanted to take a deep dive to prove our expertise in solving that one simple problem. So generally what we would do is one big question that our audience had, we would like to try and solve it within this long form piece of content over 20 minutes. So maybe we give a step-by-step breakdown. Maybe we give a formula, just like the triangle method that they can follow, but something that's actionable and that they can take away. What we were doing is we were giving our best stuff away for free because what we were trying to do is build the authority. We were trying to build our audience and have them trust us that, man, these guys are actually out there helping us. They're not gatekeeping and hiding all of this information. The other bonus of long form content, especially if you're using YouTube or podcasting platforms, is it lasts forever. It's evergreen content. So you could create this video one time or this podcast one time, and it's going to live on the internet forever. The problem with short form content is that typically in like 1 to 3 days, the piece of content's gone. Like it's never going to be seen again because it just keeps getting pushed lower and lower in the feed. By creating the long form videos, it could be searched for 2, 3, 4 years later and be still getting you views and getting you attention over time. And what we like to do within this long form piece of content is we actually take all 3 stages, the growth, nurture, and convert, and we kind of combine it into one video. So we do the growth aspect of like the topic, the topic ideation. This is something that our audience we know is searching for and wants to know more about. So that's growth. That is getting us the awareness. The nurture, we're proving our expertise within the video, which that is then nurturing them. And maybe we ask for a comment, or we have a free download, or some sort of thing at the end of the video, which is our conversion. So while that all sounds great, we took it a step further, and to create this cult-like brand following, we wanted people to feel like, I am stupid if I don't do business with this person. We created a private VIP free community. And basically what this was is the call to action within these long form videos. We're driving them to the private community. And within this community, it's basically just a place for like-minded individuals to gather, to collaborate, to ask questions. And now you can almost start like working together with each other. So we had our person, our business, they would show up once a week. They would do live office hours. So they would literally just get on the community, say I'm here, say I'm available, honestly just be working. But when somebody wanted to come into the community and ask a question, they could get on there and ask a question one-on-one, face-to-face with our expert. And by doing that, we started building more and more trust, because now they're getting their specific questions answered directly from our expert. And all that does is just build more and more trust. And the beauty of all this, it's still for free, because this was a really high ticket that this person was selling. So what would also happen is throughout the week, if you couldn't get onto the live and ask your question in person, you might type a question in the group and someone else could also help answer you with kind of giving their personal experience and personal feedback. And so all it did was create this community of like-minded people that wanted to show up in this private group because it was their people. So what was the result of this? So this client had about 3,200 Instagram followers, and they were getting nothing. They were getting views, but nothing was happening from their Instagram. And they're like, well, yeah, this is cool to get views, but I get no business. And so it's not really worth it. Once we started adding in the long form videos, and then we added in the community, it took about 6 months. And after 6 months, they had 100 paying customers that we know came directly from either YouTube or the paid community or Instagram. So they went from 0 to 100 paying customers at a very high ticket within 6 months. Now, don't get me wrong. This is hard work. You have to put in the effort. You have to be an expert. You have to show up. Like, recording YouTube videos is not easy. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of time. However, this person was able to pay for a team to go ahead and do it for them. They just had to show up and do the presenting, which was honestly kind of easy for them. So if you're one of those businesses that are getting views and you don't really know like what to do with it, why are you not building this audience? Why are people not buying from you? Try the triangle method. I think it's one of these hidden secrets that digital marketing companies are using, but like regular businesses don't know much about. I would definitely kind of invest first into the short form, then go into the long form, then finish out with that paid community aspect. And by doing that, you're just creating this flywheel of over time, you're just nurturing people more and more and, kind of helping them out wherever you can. And getting started, you're going to need to know how to create these growth, nurture, and convert posts to effectively start on your social media. And if you need help on how to do that, we actually created a video right here that walks you through exactly how the growth, nurture, convert process works.